fortune, everybody. It's the Bitcoin Otter Show. We're going out live. We're going out on KCYP FM 97.7, the Facebook, the YouTube, the Christopher Ott, and the Bitcoin Otter Facebook, YouTube. We're all out there. We're waiting on you. Got the chat room right here. It's open. I'm ready. We're going to talk. Ladies and gents, we have a lot to talk about, right? So I wasn't around last week. And, let's be honest, haven't been around. I've been around, right? But the show hasn't gone on for a while. And I'm not in the studio right now. That'll be next week, Lord willing. But the fact of the matter is, we are here now. So I'm going to turn on the Facebook apparatus, both the Bitcoin Otter and the Christopher Ott version of it. And what we'll do is have all of the potential comments, discussion items, everything that's going on out there that you guys are doing and wanting to talk about. Hopefully, Lord willing, we're going to get that. We are going to get that. So I got the comment window open there. Got the comment window open over here. See if I can get these two going here. So we got the Bitcoin Otter and we have the Christopher Ott. There we go. Yes, and we're coming back to the restream. So what have I got for you today? Oh, wow. Just a little bit of discussion, okay? The thing that all of us want to know, the thing that we deserve to know as Americans, right? The very least as taxpayers, right? What happened in Butler County? What happened? Our president was shot. What happened? Who did it? Do you really think, and please send me the message, do you really think a 20-year-old orchestrated all this? Do you think a 20-year-old planned all this with that black evil weapon that he used? Okay? Because I don't. I don't know exactly how it went down, but as I posted, I think I posted it that day. Whatever the mainstream media tells us, we automatically know that's not what happened. We may not know as average citizens what exactly happened that day. We don't know because most of us weren't there. And those of us that were there, wow, it was chaos, You can imagine, right? Being part of that, how chaotic that would be. I'd like to say, hey, I'd do this or I'd do that. But the fact of the matter is I wasn't there. And I didn't do this and I didn't do that because I wasn't there. But what I can do is I can imagine and I can discuss what may or may not have happened, not in a way that will divide us, but in a way that will hopefully get us to the truth. Ladies and gentlemen, we as Americans, we want the truth. How long has it been? Since 1963. Okay? My opinion. This is me speaking. You guys let me know in the comments and stuff what you might be thinking. But my thoughts are this. The usual suspects killed our president in 1963. They killed JFK. A lot of people talk about how presidents should, in some way or another, relate to both sides, to both parties, both wings of the same bird, if you will. And I think JFK did that. Okay? And the fear that those same usual suspects have is that Donald Trump is going to do the same thing. Yeah. They're afraid that they have completely lost those people that call themselves Democrats, even those people, some of those people that call themselves lifelong Democrats. See, I now call myself of no political affiliation. Okay? I'm a child of God. I believe in the one true God and his son, Jesus Christ. And I'm not a Republican. I don't consider myself a Democrat. I consider myself an American. Born that way, loving it. Continue to love it until I die. I love the country. I believe God guided our founding fathers, guided the founding documents. Okay? I know you can't see them, but that's what they are behind me. So, what I truly believe is that we are coming up to a point, ladies and gents, we are coming up to a point where either the truth comes out or we're going to, I don't know. I could say as a Texan, I would be okay if the truth doesn't come out or if they do something as evil as they tried against Trump in Pennsylvania. As a Texan, I'd be fine with seceding from the people who would approve of something like that. Honestly, I would, and I have no compunction upon doing so. I have I would have no regret because it's simply a matter of people who want to or don't want to continue on with America as it was founded. So I guess here's another subject we can talk about if you want to talk about it. The fact that, well, it is indeed a situation we have on our hands with these people who believe that they can paint the Liberty Bell with impunity, okay? Deface landmarks, historical landmarks that we the people have in place for a reason, to remind our next generation, generations plural, of what it is that our nation went through, what it is that the people of our nation have accomplished. And we use history to illustrate these things. And the scum, the literal human scum who have chosen to be this way, deface it. Now, had these people been wearing, let's say, MAGA gear, if they really wanted to make America great, and first of all, they wouldn't be doing that, okay? They would be doing it orderly, like many perhaps ignorant patriots were doing on January 6th, walking in between the velvet ropes, okay? Because, well, what the media won't tell you and knuckleheads on social media won't tell you is that they were invited in there by the Capitol Police, by the employees, by people who did or did not know that it was an operation, that it was a scam on the part of the usual suspects to get people who were wearing, Trump hats, and they were Trump supporters, some of them, the ones that were in the lines, right? And then you had Antifa there. You had a few Azov freaks there. We know the FBI was there. We know the FBI was there, right? They're egging it on. They had a guy in their employ by the name of Ray Epps. Yeah. The guy who said storm the Capitol, but never got investigated by the FBI. I wonder why. Maybe because he was the FBI. Maybe? You think? So with all that, okay, all that stuff that went on yesterday, where they defaced the Liberty Bell, they defaced some statues, they burnt the American flag right there, they burnt it. And they abused some police officers. I don't know how many were arrested. I really don't. If anybody knows, please pop up in the comments if you know how many, if any, were arrested. We'll never know how many were FBI agents, although we know that they were I'm sure, in one way or another involved, because that's just the way they roll, right? So the fact of the matter is, those people will not be seeing, my opinion, jail. Not like January 6th, where they were hunted down, thrown in solitary confinement. They're still there, ladies and gents. They're still there, rotting in jail. Ray Epps is not rotting in jail. Ray Epps had a bullhorn and wanted everybody to storm the Capitol, said Ray Epps. He's not in solitary confinement. He's not in jail. His family gets to see him. Why? Because he was part of the op. Is everybody getting this? And if not, or you have a different opinion of it, please let me know. I got the comments open. Anything else you want to talk about, let me know. Got them open. That's what we're here for. Okay. I don't want to just, give my opinion, and I do want to do that, but I don't want it to be the only opinion out there, because I learned too. I learned from you all. So what I want to do, what I would like to do, and I would hope you would want to do, is discuss this stuff, because, well, it's not right. Not in any way, shape, or form. So what do we do? What do we do? What is incumbent upon us as patriots? Well, the first thing, in my opinion, and this is for me, is to seek God. What would God have us do? Okay, I know that thing that went on years back, what would Jesus do? Well, I think there was some legitimacy to that. So I would say that I'm going to follow all the rules that I know are right. I'm going to follow the authorities, okay? The law. Now, I'm not going to follow the news or anything they say, because they are not authorities. They would present themselves as such, but they are nothing of the sort. They are nasty, nasty manifestations of, and I'm going to say it, evil. I think that journalism today is nothing what true, compared to what true journalism should be. These people are spoon-fed by their owners, and the fact of the matter is, they're crooked. Pretty much the whole lot of them. They and politicians. Our nation has been taken off track very, very widely, very far afield from where we should be. And I'm not the only one thinking this. I've read a lot of people, they're writing. I've read, I've watched, I've listened, and we're not the only ones. So how do we get back on track? How do we get back on the road to making America great again? I said it before, I'll say it again. First thing's God. Put God first in your life. Love him with all your heart, all your mind, and all your spirit. And you'll see not only success in your life, but your family, and hopefully our country. The word says that if his people who call themselves by his name kneel and humbly ask for forgiveness, he will heal our nation. I've been doing it. I'm not saying I'm Mr. Righteous or anything like that. I'll do anything. Almost anything, right? Almost anything I'll do for our country to survive. This is where I've never, I spent a year in Korea with the military, but I'm not a Korean citizen. I'm an American. And even for the Mexicans that are watching this, they identify with Mexico. They're Mexicanos. It's awesome. Patriotism is great. Patriotism keeps us honest. Why do I say that? How do I mean that? Because there are going to be nations that are overtaken in a way that allows them to be used for evil. And the way God brings them back, or brings the world back to where he wants it to be, is by using other nations that have not fallen. Now, I do know that there will come a time, and the Bible tells us, that there will be one world government. And then, well, the ultimate bad guy comes on the scene, the Antichrist. But we're not there yet. Thank God, we're not there yet. We are still living in the days of grace, and we have the opportunity to ask for forgiveness. So God tells us all we have to do is ask for it. Humbly ask for forgiveness. Why do I say forgiveness? Well, what Otter? What does the U.S. have to ask for forgiveness? Well, I can tell you one thing, that the U.S. has to ask for forgiveness. Okay? Unnecessary war. There are people out there that we call warmongers. And I don't doubt for a second that they're owned by people that are even more evil than them, like John Bolton, Cheney, Bush, Nikki Haley. Never saw a war she didn't like. These people are out there, and they like war because they're paid to like war. They're paid to promote war because the bankers, okay, that own the governments, they don't own our country. They own the government because they got the politicians in their pocket. Those people, okay, they want power. They love power. They seek power. They cherish and worship power. So in order for them not to give it up, they have figured out a way to print money out of nothing, print currency out of thin air. Now, they don't even so much print it anymore as they do invent it in your computer account, your bank account. So it becomes digitized as money out there in the ether, if you will. So those bankers stand to lose a lot if a nation, and we'll just use this, a real world scenario, but we'll use this as an example, Libya. Libya attempted to, and perhaps even went through the motions and actually succeeded for a while, making its own, minting its own currency. And they were doing well. In fact, Gaddafi, who we are told, and I don't know any different, okay, I'm not going to drink a beer with, well, nobody can drink a beer with a guy anymore. The usual suspects thought of that. But if he was around, I wouldn't be drinking beer with him. Put it that way, okay? So the fact of the matter is, the nation of Libya attempted to do what sovereign nations should be and have a right to do. They should be able to and have a right to print their own currency, to mint, coin their own currency, their own legal tender. But you know what? The usual suspects put a really, really quick end to that and an end to Gaddafi's life. Why? Because they want the monopoly on cash. One of the reasons why we have so many enemies, and one of the reasons why the biggest ones are China and Russia, both in size and in enmity, is the fact that they didn't bend to the Federal Reserve. They have their own banks. That's one of the reasons why Russia has survived the sanctions that the evil warmongers of the West have placed on them. Russia, Russia, Russia. Why are we always pointing to Russia? Maybe they would take us over, but they don't want anything like that. I think the last time I checked, it's a good way to see aggression for what it is. The last time I checked, the United States had like 720 foreign military bases to Russia's 20. So who's the empire? Who's seeking empire? The one with 20 bases or the one with 720 bases? I think that's pretty easy to see. But the fact of the matter is this. This is the way I see it. We as Americans have blown up a lot of people. No, not me, not you, I know. But in our name, evil swine have assumed positions of power and done this. Have we had threats on the nation that needed to be recompensed? Yeah, we have. Yeah, we have. But much like the situation going on in Gaza right now, where they're genociding people, the usual suspects make their own enemies. Now, they do that in a couple ways. The first way is funding them. So you've probably heard, if you're old enough, of the Mujahideen. You've heard probably, if you're old enough, of Al-Qaeda. You've probably heard of the Taliban. And of course, nowadays, it's ISIS. Well, I submit to you that ISIS is USIS. I believe that the military complex, the military industrial complex in this country, gains so much from war that they're willing to fund their own enemies. Because they're not really their enemies. They're funded by them and attack when and where they want. I believe Israel does the same thing. My opinion. So when, these knuckleheads, these evil people, knuckleheads is way too nice of a name. Evil people that call themselves Hamas went in and slaughtered Israelis. Well, they should never have gotten that far because Israel has the best air defense system, the best domestic defense force, IDF, Iron Dome being the air defense, IDF being the civilian defense force, and the best intel agency in the world. In the world. I don't think many people at all would dispute that. Yet, Hamas came in with hang gliders. Blew up people, raped, pillaged, killed for quite some time. And I want to say over an hour. They did this. Where was the foreknowledge? Mossad. Where was the Iron Dome? Where was the IDF in that interim? So now, in response, what do they get to do? Kill men, women, and children in unlimited amounts. And anyone who critiques them is an anti-Semite in their view. Why am I bitter about this? Because they're slaughtering Semites and calling anyone who critiques them or criticizes them anti-Semites. Hence the bitter pill. So, while I believe that nations should and definitely have the right to defend themselves, let's always look into how it is attacks happened. Hey, Omar, good to see you, brother. We're talking about what was going on in Gaza, and I'm tying it back into the usual suspects, bankers, and all wars are bankers' wars. And the fact that we need to start seeking truth if we haven't already. Now, many of us are always digging for truth, and I had a great meeting today with brothers and sisters at the office, and we spoke our mind. And the current events for now they always have had the ability, if we allow it, to tear us up, our families, our relationships. So that's not my intent. What I intend is for people to learn the truth, to gather the truth, to share the truth. And right now, it's not easy. The only way, tried and true, that I know, other than God and His Bible, the only way I know to attempt a beginning at zeroing in on the truth is to find out what the mainstream media says, and exactly at that point in time that information is false. So we have a way of getting to the truth from a negative perspective, meaning whatever it is, sometimes it's 180, sometimes it's less, but whatever the mainstream media is teaching you, whatever they're trying to get you to believe, is a lie. because they cannot abide by the truth. Why? Because if we ever knew the truth, if enough Americans knew the truth, okay, and I'm not the only one to say this. Henry Ford said this back in the earlier days of the Federal Reserve. He said if something to the effect of, if the American people knew what our banking policy did to them, then we would have chaos in the streets in the morning. So I'm not the only one who's saying these things. Certainly more and smarter people have been saying these things. But there is one of the rationalizations I have for saying, you know what? The news lies to you. They don't like you. They don't want you. And they certainly don't want your truth. So that's one way of finding the truth. Another way of finding the truth is, well, hey, eyewitnesses. What did they see? So now we have video. But even then, we don't know all of the details because, well, it can be edited. It can be changed, manipulated. So we can't watch the news. We certainly, under no circumstances can we trust the investigative body called the FBI, right? And I don't want to make people uneasy and, oh, wow, why don't you trust them, this and that. I don't want that. That is also not my intent. My intent is to get people to question what is presented to them. So the news will present it to us on a platter, hoping, and in the past, they had pretty good knowledge that we were going to buy it. For instance, the Kennedy assassination. How many people bought that Lee Harvey Oswald was the killer? Compared to now, after we have evidence of, multiple bullets, trajectories, all kinds of stuff, right? And then this fiasco that happened in, Pennsylvania. How many of us really believe that a 20-year-old kid engineered all that? Edsel, good to see you. Edsel says, that being said, is it possible the Trump shooting is part of the show? Shouldn't we be careful on this blind push for Trump? Yes, thank you. Mike says, now with how AI is coming along, that adds another layer of misinformation. Absolutely. So a lot of people are thinking that it was perhaps AI that was brought up on the Kamala Harris show. So, hey, Edsel's in Mexico. All right. I don't know if you were on earlier, Edsel, but I was saying that I love America, and I'm an American, and I'm a patriot, and that there are those that are obviously, Edsel, watching from Mexico, and if you're a Mexican citizen, you're a Mexicano, that's a patriot. That's awesome. We need to be patriotic for each and every country that we call ourselves a citizen of. That's a good thing. God made nations, ladies and gents. He made them. 70 of them to start out. Okay? And it was no accident that not only did God make 70 nations as the inhabitants of Noah's Ark spread out. I'm sorry. Well, they had already spread out. It was the Tower of Babel, and God broke them up into 70 languages. And then when Jesus had his disciples and his followers go out, he split them up into pairs. How many you think? You guess. You got it. 70. So that is part of what we're here for. Now, Edsel, you bring up a good point. So your point, Edsel's point is this, guys. Shouldn't we be careful on this blind push for Trump? Yes. Why? Why? Oh man, I got Trump. I got Trump here. I got Trump here. I really do believe in the guy. But is there a possibility? Is there a possibility that this could be part of the show, as you say, Edsel? I do believe so. Now, I personally believe, I have been persuaded that the show is being put on by white hats, good guys, whatever, patriots, okay? Whatever you want to call them, okay? I do believe that there is a lot of showmanship going on right now. What do I mean by that? Well, and this was long ago, this was years ago, and I believe this was also the other day, where Joe Biden did a press conference from a set. He wasn't in the Oval Office. He wasn't in the whatever they do there in the White House, where they have a press conference room. He wasn't there. He was on a set separate from, I think still in DC, but separate from the White House. They've had this set going throughout the whole Biden administration. Why? Well, it's my opinion that it just works out easier for them. There are probably other reasons that I'm not privy to, but it's a set, okay? Going along with, like you're saying, Edsel, and I do believe we are to a greater or lesser extent watching a movie. We're watching a show. So, that said, could it have been a show? Some people have said, hey, and now isn't it interesting that people on the left side, I guess you call it, and I don't want to go into that whole left-right paradigm, okay, because our enemy plays both sides. They don't care about red. They don't care about blue, Republican, Democrat, left, right. They create those things to divide us. I'm speaking as an American, okay? But there is a segment of Americans that really does believe the news. And they are all over us like a cheap suit when it comes to us seeking truth via theories, right? Conspiracy theories, which term was made up by the three-letter agencies to discredit anyone who, endeavored to seek the truth through, thought crimes, right? We're thinking that, well, those three letters lied to us. The news networks lie to us. Anything that is official, right? The health agencies lie to us, right? The whole 6 feet apart, it's going to protect you. You won't get COVID. It's all come out as a bunch of lies. So the authorities are lying to us, right? The Food and Drug Administration says we need 3 servings or 4 servings of grains every day. Jeepers. We're all finding out now, those of us, especially those of us who do keto, man, you want to see your blood pressure go down, hey, cut those grains, cut those carbs out. Your blood pressure goes down. Simple. Weight, you're going to lose weight, all that good stuff. But the fact of the matter is, and I'm going to your point, Edsel, we are watching a show. If at some level you don't think that this is orchestrated, then you're just not paying attention. So perhaps, yes, perhaps, Edsel, you're right. Perhaps you're right that we are rushing into Trump, or if we are being herded into Trump in the worst case scenario, meaning the enemy of America has played one side and exposed it, I believe. I believe that anyone who uses their brain and doesn't allow their brain and their thought process to be tainted by mainstream media, and I'm talking about Fox too, those rats, they'll lie to you every day, all day, right? So if you're not going to allow yourself to be swayed by them, then the bad guys are going to allow that pendulum swing to bring your emotion with it. So many of us, and rightfully so, are pissed off that somebody, or more than one somebody, took a shot at our president. Hit him. Didn't kill him, thank God, but hit him. So we have to think naturally, and I'm not going to be a hypocrite like so many that are against my opinion. I can't say that, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist if you think somebody put that on. Well, maybe somebody did put it on. So people have said, maybe they allowed the shot to the ear, and no. Nobody, no. If they're going to do that, to me, that would all be considered a false flag, right? So a false flag is going to have room for error, and that would leave very little room for error. There's no way, and I don't know, other people would have their opinions, but Trump would certainly not be into it. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be into it. Hey, Otter, we're going to run this show. Everybody's going to love you after this, but We got to have a guy 130 yards away hit you in the air. Are you on board? No, I'm not on board. No way. Okay? So, yes, Edsel, we do need to be careful. So, how do we know? We have to inspect the fruits. What do I mean by that? Well, the Bible tells us that if you want to know if a spirit is good or evil, you look for the fruit. What is coming out of the person who claims to have a spirit? Claims to be either godly, righteous, or just right, plain old right. Correct. Well, look at their life, look at their words, look at the results of their policies. Okay? So, if we look at those things, we can inspect what it is that is the fruit of that person's policy, words, and what their intent is. Now, of course, it's going to be difficult for Donald Trump to show us all these things because all he does now and all he can do is talk, is speak, is promise. Now, some of the things that he's promised, they sound wonderful. And if he is who people like me think he is, he's going to come through with it because he's come through with other things that he's told us he was going to do. So that's my reasoning. Now, if he gets in office and he does something different, or if he gets in office and does something against what it was that we who voted for him wanted him to do, well, he's just another one of them. But if he does the things that will make America great again, and for all of us, all Americans, all shades, sizes, everything, just America in general. If that's the case, and especially in reference to the Federal Reserve, especially that big sucking parasite, okay, on every U.S. family that exists, right? The Federal Reserve is a parasitic organization, a private one too, in case some of you out there, for whatever reason, didn't know that. It sucks the wealth from American families while protecting, okay, its own interests. And, you know, again, I think that they're the reason behind bombing all these people, missiling and droning all these people across the world. But I do appreciate, Edsel, the fact that you brought that up. Shouldn't we be careful on the blind push for Trump? Yeah. And Mike, you mentioned AI. I'll tell you. So I think someone did a, whatever they call it, a voice study of the call-in that Joe made when Kamala Harris, or Kamala, or whatever her name is, when she said that I'm going to run for president. Well, the recording, and she almost said recording, but she didn't. But the voice of Joe was analyzed. And again, you believe this at your own risk. I'm not telling you this is the truth. I'm just saying that somebody out there analyzed it and said it was a 98% chance that it was not Joe Biden and it was something, computer generated. So we have those types of things that we need to deal with too. We were told about all this in the Bible. It's coming into play. Okay. Is this the end times? I'm not going to say that. I don't know. I don't know the day or the hour. I don't know any of that. I'm not supposed to. But I do know that if we want this country to survive, we do have to ask for forgiveness. Because we as a nation, well, maybe not we as people, but the people that have been installed as our leaders have done a lot of nasty stuff on both sides, right? You're a Republican, you're a Democrat, whatever, doesn't matter. Okay? A lot of people around the world were killed with American munitions. Now, of course, those were bought and paid for by, again, the bankers, right? And if you're wondering how they do that, well, they have their property. They call them politicians. We call them politicians, but they're owned by, corporations and banks. So these people ask for a budget, and that budget doesn't come from our tax money. No, that's not how it works. Our tax money goes to pay the national debt. Now, we certainly don't have enough tax money to pay the national debt, so we just pay on the interest as the debt grows. Yes. If you want to know how I know this, hit me up on bitcoinotter.media@gmail.com, and I'll throw you some information. And you be the judge of whether it's true or not. But what I'm also getting at is that while our tax dollars don't spend even a dollar to fund soldiers, police, every national thing, monuments, park police, national parks, our tax dollars don't do that. Our tax dollars go to pay on the debt and just the interest of the debt. So how is it that federal agencies are funded? Federal agents, soldiers, all the federal government that needs to be funded because it's huge, right? Well, every year, the Federal Reserve sits at their computer and hits the enter button and the zero button, right? Adds money that was just freshly made for you and me and for those kids over in Gaza to blow them up. Or maybe even in Ukraine. Let's blow up some, Russian people because, well, Ukraine's a chaotic, corrupt nation. So we got to defend it. So not the people, but the government that they threw in 2014. So what we have now is we as Americans, in our name, these things have been done. We can't take it back, but we sure can change the future. How? Well, we demand it. We simply demand it. We just basically say that, well, we're going to do this. And if you're not on board, you're not going to get our vote, first of all. And if voting is a sham, which I don't think voting is a sham, I do acknowledge that there's a lot of fraud out there. And we're going to see what happens this time. We already had that CrowdStrike thing, right? CrowdStrike, if you remember, if it sounds familiar, maybe you'll realize that it was utilized for the Russia scandal. Was CrowdStrike by the usual suspects, the three-letter agencies and communists in general. So all that to say that we do need to be careful. I personally don't think that the people that recruited Donald Trump mean harm for our nation. But yes, we do need to be on the lookout. We need to inspect the fruit. What are the fruits of their labors, the fruits of their speeches, and the fruits of their actions? What is it that results from their actions, their policies, the money? Where does the money go? Our money that they take from us, they confiscate, they steal in the form of taxation. Where does that go? Right now, we know it goes to an evil institution, the Federal Reserve. Where is it going to go when Donald Trump gets in? Because I'll tell you, it needs to change. If he really is who he says he is, the guy that's going to drain the swamp, you have to cut off their finances. Right? Now, he hasn't said that. He certainly hasn't said it. It's very dangerous for a political candidate or a real life president. Can't ask Kennedy, but to come out against three-letter agencies like Kennedy did. He said he was going to have it smashed. He was going to smash it in 1,000 pieces. But they did what they did to him. So if Donald Trump is going to be a force of good, he's going to show progress. He's going to show a concerted effort to get rid of the swamp, the Republicans and the Democrats who don't really care about America. They just care about their pockets, their bank accounts. So, yes, let's be careful. Let us inspect the policies. Are we going to continue to have our so-called representatives sign bills that have thousands of pages? Edsel says, and that's because JFK had a huge following. He certainly did. I don't know if you were on, Edsel, but I said that if anybody was successful in capturing both sides of the aisle, it was JFK. Especially afterward, people saw that, wait a minute, this was, if not an average Joe, because, well, the Kennedys were a dynasty, so to speak. But, man, he spoke for the everyman. His policies served the everyman, the ordinary person. And that's part of the reason why they got rid of him. He wasn't going along to get along in the DC set. Gallows poll 805. Federal Reserve is an illegal, unconstitutional, globalist oligarch-backed institution that serves its corporate globalist interests and seeks to put the boot to the throat of freedom. I could not have said it better, Mr. or Ms. Gallows poll 805. Awesome. Coming from YouTube. Awesome. I haven't had a comment from YouTube coming in a while. Thank you, sir or ma'am. That is exactly the way I feel. And I don't want to go into feelings, because feelings can very easily deceive us. So I have a feeling about something. So how do I back it up? Well, do your research. Figure out who's at the bottom to the best of your ability, right? We just went over how they lie to us and how easy it is. Mike pointed out AI, right? Edsel told us, well, hey, it could be something we need to be careful about, because what if it's all a show? You know, I just thought of something. Came to me. Gallows says, you know me as Steve. Great show. Hey, I know who you are, Steve. Thank you, Steve. I know who you are now. So all this brought to mind, okay? Now it's just coming to me, okay? That, and if this is, and let's just say for an example, Edsel, that it is a show put on by a certain entity or camp, if you will, that is promoting Donald Trump. Do you remember what happened to Alex Jones when he called out a certain, what I consider to be sketchy operation? I want to say $1 billion today or more, just for speaking his mind on what he thought a certain event really was. He has grounds to think that way, but he's not allowed to say it. I won't even say the word. Why won't I say it? Because I know what's going to happen to the Bitcoin Otter show. Okay? I also represent Joe Martinez's show, 97.7 KCYP The City out of McAllen, Texas. We're not live on the radio right now, but Lord willing, we will be fairly soon. Okay? So I don't say these words. What does that mean? I'll tell you what it means. My First Amendment is being constrained. I can't say what I want to say, regardless of the fact that it's not going to endanger anyone. Why? Because I'll be censored. Why? Because the truth might come out. They're deathly afraid of the truth, ladies and gentlemen. Why? Because the truth will set us free. Yes, the truth will set we the people free. And they don't want us free. They consider us chattel, subhuman. Sue says, back to what you were saying, passing bills that have hundreds of pages of hidden back deals. Yes, pork. Right? What was it? It was Pelosi said it at one point or another. She says, well, you've got to sign it before you can read it. Wait a minute. Nancy. Okay? What do you mean? She meant what she said. That's the way things work there now. That has to be stopped. That has to be stopped. All these things are going to be. Oh, and by the way, now that I see this, hi, Dad. If you guys are watching this on the big screen, I love you, Dad. So, if we want to see results, and if, Edsel, to your point, and I want to address your point, I want to continue to address your point because it's valid. Okay, I'm not going to dismiss all of that as, oh, conspiracy theory, it can never happen. No. This is where it's led. Okay, the fact that we're in this crazy world, this clown world right now, okay, is largely attributable to the fact that we as Americans have been stifled from searching truth. We've been labeled as conspiracy theorists when in fact conspiracy theories abound. Not only conspiracy theories, but conspiracies. Okay? They abound. We just theorize about them. So yes, pork these people. And here's a great idea, and I know I've mentioned this before. Put these people in NASCAR suits. You know, who cares about what kind of, designer suits they could wear on the floor? Put them in NASCAR suits so that everybody who owns them has a little piece of them, and we can see where our money goes based on their policies, right? Because we know that these legislators don't write bills. Lobbyists write bills. Who are lobbyists? People paid by corporations, nonprofits, NGOs, non-governmental organizations, and other entities, including foreign nations. Okay? We need to go back, and I've been, battling this out on X, Twitter. People just don't seem to get it. Our founding fathers espoused a great policy, great for America. It was called no foreign entanglements. No foreign entanglements. What does that mean? Are we nice to other nations? Yes. Do we trade with other nations? Yes. Do we become involved in their politics? No. We do not get involved in their politics, and we most certainly do not allow them in our politics. No foreign entanglements. Okay? Corrupt people came up with a corrupt term. Isolationism. Oh, yeah. They want to make it sound bad. But in reality, if you want to be American and you want America to be great again, no foreign entanglements. Edsel says, I agree. How can we help others when we ourselves are in turmoil? Thank you, sir. Thank you. Right? We have to put our own house in order so that the world can benefit from what I would like to think we would be a city on a hill. An example of how a free society can bring about a peaceful civilization that rises all people who contribute. Okay? And this is one of the things the usual suspects want to attack. They want to attack the fact that civilized nations raise the bar of civilization, raise the standard of living. Okay? Gallows poll. They want United States citizens to watch a coup and an assassination attempt take place in the same week. A week to remember, right? While they shout, nothing to see here, folks. All is okay. Yeah. They want us to think that this ride in clown world is reality, and we need to take it seriously. Well, I'll tell them a thing or two. We're not going to take it anymore. We're not going to get violent. There's no calls for violence here. There is calls. I am making a call. There are calls. This is the call. Shut them off. Disregard. Don't believe them. If you want to see what the lie is, sure, tune in. Watch your TV. Watch the lip move. Watch the mouth, open and close, and then okay, there are lies happening. What are those lies? You turn the volume on. Bam! Now you know what the lie is. Then you go search for the truth somewhere else. You be the judge. You want to use the internet. You want to use AI. You want to use whatever. Social media. They all have their pitfalls, but they're definitely going to come out with more information than you'll see on the news. Gallows Pole 805 on YouTube. War is a Racket by Smedley Butler. Yes, good one. Touches upon what our founding fathers warned us about. Absolutely. The more we look at it, the more accurate and prescient were the founding fathers. They knew these things were going to happen. Why? Because they were intimately familiar with tyranny. They knew tyrants and their methods. That's why they put the First Amendment in. They put the Second Amendment in to defend the First and all the others, right? All the others. And what have their successors done for the most part throughout the last 200 or so years? Whittle away at those amendments. What are the amendments, right? What is the Bill of Rights? What is the Constitution? In essence, what is it? It is a set of rules for what government cannot do to us. It is not what communists will have you think. It is not a list of things that the government must supply to us. No, they must give this to us or that to us, or this is what they must give us as we are entitled to it. No, we don't want it. If it's a government, we don't want anything other than what they are supplied, they are given under the Constitution. And I'll tell you what, the federal government is given very, very little under the Constitution. They had to usurp powers because they don't have authority. Study the difference between power and authority, and you will find very large and vast gulf between power and authority. One, now they can work together, right? But they don't always. They don't always. And that's the danger. That's what we have to know. We have to learn. We have to see that the danger is that people can grasp power. They can see what it is that they want. They grab it, but they don't really have the authority. And we, as citizens, have so much going on in our lives. Have you gone to the gas pumps lately? Have you gone to the grocery store lately? Have you tried paying auto insurance lately? Have you tried living in this economy lately? Yes, you have. You know where I'm going with this, and you know what I'm talking about. Okay? So, back to how we find truth. Inspect the fruits. When, Lord willing, when Trump gets in, and I've made no secret of who I want to win, inspect his fruits of his policies, of his words. Does he state things that don't come to pass? Are the promises he's giving us now at least going to be worked on quickly? The things that he's told us, right? What's the first thing you're going to do, Mr. Trump, if you get back in office? Drill, baby, drill, he says. All right. We give him some weeks, maybe a month, 2 months. Are we drilling, President? Mr. President, are we drilling? If so, where? Where's it going? How soon until we can see an effect on the economy? Are we refilling the strategic reserves that the usual suspects have drained in an effort to bring down gas prices in this crazy economy? Have these things at least been started in the beginning, right? And then we do a recap. We get in 6 months. We get in a year. Okay, President Trump, what have you done? Give him a scorecard, right? Hold him accountable. We have to do these things, ladies and gents. We have to, because we've abrogated our authority for way too long, and this is what we're experiencing. Clown world. Clown world. Almost time, ladies and gents. We've got a minute left. I just want to thank you, all of you, for coming in on the conversation, for throwing out your opinion, for throwing out the things that mean something to you. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. I thank you all. I thank you that have contributed to the conversation. And those of you that are going to watch this later on tonight or during the week or whatever, please throw in comments, right? I'm on Facebook. I'm gonna tune in to your comments. I'm going to listen. I'm going to reply if that's, if you ask a question. Because this means a lot to me, and I think it means a lot to you. We as Americans need to come together. We need to hold the people that call themselves our representatives to account. And we need to allow those that are in authority to bring justice about. Edsel, great show, Chris. Hope I can catch the next one. Thank you, Edsel. I appreciate it. Thank you for your participation. It was great. Great to see and hear. Well, I don't see you, but hear from you again. Thank you. And enjoy yourself and be safe there in Mexico. So I'm going to sign off, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. You got a message for me? You want to email me? You want to know, hey, Otter, where's your sources? Where do you get this, that, or the other thing from? bitcoinotter.media@gmail.com. And if you want to comment on the show or any of the comments that have already been made by me or anybody else, please throw it up on Facebook, and we'll keep the conversation going. Until next week, ladies and gentlemen, I love you. God bless you, and God bless America. Amen.